G'day everybody and welcome back to the Hardball Gets AFL show. Today on the pod, it's the 2-minute warning out of round 6. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast wherever you listen, please do that. Leave us a rating, leave us a review, and most importantly of all, and I know you're doing it, but don't deny it, tell your mates. All right, get stuck in. Hardball Gets is brought to you by Tab Touch. Got the touch? Download the Tab Touch app today. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. This is a Hardball Gets AFL show. My name's Nick Rynne, joined by Xavier Ellis, a very sweaty Xavier Ellis today.
I'll have his shirt off in a minute.
And Ryan Daniels. What's going on?
He did a half marathon 2 days ago.
Pissed.
He's still sweating.
Yeah.
He's still sweating.
It wasn't a great idea. It was a...
Talk us through it, because I didn't know you had it in you.
No, it actually wasn't hard, to be honest with you.
So you just woke up and thought, I'm going to start running.
Is your body's
Saturday
your body's a
morning.
natural runner, I feel like, and you've just done stuff to it.
No, woke up Saturday morning after the footy Friday night. I was like, righto, small run in the morning. Then I had a few beers by myself on the couch at home after the footy. I was like, you're a f***ing idiot.
Yeah.
You didn't deserve them.
Yeah.
Go work them off.
Silly beers.
Just wasted beer.
Yeah,
so,
empty calories.
Empty calories. Lifetime on the lips. What do I say? A minute on the lips, lifetime on my f***ing ass. Oh, swore twice. Sorry. Lifetime on my ass.
Josh is working hard already.
So anyway, I just got up and zero planning, so zero water.
This has real Forrest Gump areas where you just get up and start running.
Just went, yeah.
And
So this Saturday I'm going to try and do 30.
So hold on, you start running.
Yeah.
And did you immediately say to yourself, I'm doing 21?
Or did you
just
start
keep
going
going?
Nah, so started doing around Jakarta, and then Herdsman Lake's there, which is like 10 from Jakarta around Herdsman's about 10.
May as well just keep going.
So I was like, well, just knock the 10 over, and then all of a sudden you're on 15. I was like, well, you're there, so just
15, you might as well do 21.
keep doing 21. So that's my theory this week. Get to 21, and then I might just punch on to 25.
Yeah.
I go slowly.
Yeah, you
But
crawl
my
it.
knee's so sore.
Just go to the full 42. Just do it.
Yeah. Honestly, there's no, aerobically, zero challenge.
This is
Knee,
What?
very sore.
so. This is ending in tragedy because
my Vitala will snap.
Yeah, I've
for sure.
Yeah.
I've done the marathon training and I didn't do it properly. And I can tell you, once I got to 25k, the body went nah. And you were going to fall into a heap.
I have zero aspirations to do the marathon.
Just make sure you take the
No,
photo.
you're halfway there.
No, but I think I'll just circle around this area.
Just keep going.
No, I get up early on a Saturday morning, 2 hours, get back, kids will be just getting up. Done.
Yep. I could see
How
you.
early?
No, 6. It's still dark.
I suppose you're breakfast radio.
6 to 8, done.
Yeah, that's a sleep in for you.
Couple of hours.
Hey, does it feel like people are taking the piss with this Easter thing now? Look, I've come in this morning.
Nobody's here.
No one's here.
Nah.
No, but
It's Tuesday.
You only need to take 3 days.
I would say you're the one that's taking the piss by not taking the 3 days off.
Yeah.
So because of the Friday Anzac thing, everyone's worked out if you take these 3 days off, and then you could have taken from last Thursday off. So
Yes.
you end
You
up
got
with
11, is it 11 days or something?
And Southern Cross Austereo, so Triple M, and the other stations were offering take 2, get 1 free.
Really?
Yeah, so
Well, they wanted nobody.
all you had to do was take 2 days, and they gave you the third to bridge this
you
gap.
did that. Well, you were
Why did
automatically
we-
off
yeah.
here. That's okay. I've misread the situation.
have horribly.
But I can't. I've just got to keep going anyway because
Yeah, you don't get public holidays.
This time of
either,
year,
do you?
I can't just take 2 weeks off. I'd still have to work anyway. Just all the other stuff.
Well, yeah,
Put the
you
foot
don't.
down.
You don't get public holidays in your contract, do you?
Nah, we get extra 2 weeks of leave.
Yeah, I was the same here. So this is my first time I've actually had the public
Yeah.
holiday. It's been very nice.
So we get 6 weeks off, which is nice.
Nice.
But it doesn't help when you got the public holiday.
Yeah, and you never get a
nice.
chance to take
No,
them
not
also.
so nice.
It's not the best.
6 is
Yeah,
nice.
correct.
Six
Hey,
is
did we
very
get
nice.
any people who said that they'd actually told a friend?
We got heaps. didn't
Yeah, we have had
Josh?
heaps.
You got a
We
couple?
got, we got plenty.
I've
They're
listed
coming
them for the
directly.
mailbag.
Oh, look at
okay.
this.
Oh, okay.
Straight off the top.
So when we come in tomorrow for the
Yeah,
mailbag,
We'll say hello to some people that have been
We'll do it
sharing, spreading the
Yeah.
word.
we'll do it tomorrow.
We'll get a
Correct.
mates, and we'll put them in some kind of exclusive chat, mates chat.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know about that.
Don't know
No,
about
so-
that, mate.
no, yeah, and Josh is going to be admin that.
Now you're asking us
Add
to
his
do work.
workload.
Now you're asking us to do extra stuff.
You'll be first in line for a hat.
yeah,
if we ever do hats.
hats.
Hey, just before we do kick on, we do need to wrap a ribbon around how
piss
our
off. Nah.
same gamer went, of course, with Tab Touch. The less we say about it, the better. Rhino, you circled around high disposal game being
Yes.
it just simply wasn't
didn't go that way.
No,
zero.
not at
The
all.
stats lied to me.
The stats did lie to you.
Surprise, surprise, the Bombers let me down.
Yeah, well,
I
Nick,
just got the result wrong. Everything else came in.
Yeah, you got the result incorrect. And Harry Perryman's on the ban list for me for life.
He's got you a couple of times.
Life. Like Dan McStay, you guys were chewing my ear off.
No, he did. That was 5 minutes.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
5
it was
minutes,
done.
That was done. But no, we were 0 from 3 there. But of course, always gamble responsibly.
Yeah.
Do
What I
follow us.
learned is that I'm normally missionary, and I just try to throw one leg
Got
up
a bit spicy.
and just get things a little interesting.
Mate, when I see Ben Hobbs, Zach Reed,
Yeah.
Archie Roberts in there, that's a bit of fruit.
That's what I mean. That's not my style.
That's kind of
Stand on his head.
I need to know who I am.
Yeah.
Play it safe.
Straight up and down.
It's
All right, well, let's get straight into it. Dave, you want to kick us off?
Oh, I do. Absolutely, I do. Hang on, let me get back to my notes. All right, I'm going to list a player. I'm not going to say their name. You guys have to, and then we'll go to this club that this person plays for.
Okay.
Oh, well.
It's a bit of a who am I?
Double guess.
Okay, I'm currently 3rd in clearances, 3rd in disposals, 3rd in contested disposals, and number 2 in tackles in the competition.
Oh. Well,
I'll go again. 3rd in clearances, 3rd in disposals, 3rd in contested disposals, and 2nd in tackles.
I think
Is it
Sarong-
Dacos?
It's not Sarong because he's higher than that, I think. It's not Sarong, is it?
No,
No.
it's not wrong.
No.
It's Merritt's sort of around that space, but I've got
Zach
Essendon.
Merritt?
Tap the table when you want to tap out.
Is it Tom Green? No, well, that'd be averages.
Tap the table if you
No,
want
I'm
to tap out.
I'm not tapping out. I'm going through the teams in my head. Oh, is it Bailey Smith?
Not Bailey Smith.
Is it something like Jai Simpkin?
Oh,
No, not Joyce.
will it be your man John Newcomb or something?
No, not Newcomb.
Who are we talking about?
Now, I did these last night at
All right,
about...
I'll
Is this
tap
on
out.
averages or
8
totals?
Totals.
It's not
But everyone's
That's
played the
okay.
same amount of games.
Well, I thought
anyway.
Butters-
Well,
I
he
thought-
can't be
yeah,
a
I
Gold,
was Zach
can't be a
Butters,
Gold Coast probably person.
Might be.
There he
No,
came.
are we ready to rock and roll?
Yeah.
Tom
give
Green.
me-
Not Tom Green. Let's go to Carlton. George Hewitt.
Oh,
Is it?
Georgie.
George Hewitt is
Hey.
having a year out of the box. I did a little bit of research when he turned up to Carlton. I thought, geez, is this unusual for George Hewitt to be doing this? When he first came to Carlton in 2022, he played 15 games.
Yep.
14 of those games were over 25 disposals.
Wow.
Yeah, I was shocked by that. Then in 23, he was used as sub 4 times almost in a row. I was like, well, that was when George Hewitt sort of faded out a little bit. Then last season, he finished the season with 32 disposals, 21, 35, 32, 33. So the writing was on the wall that George Hewitt was playing good football. Now he's
Yeah.
leading the way. What he did to North Melbourne on the weekend, he single-handedly removed them from Good Friday football.
Yeah.
No more Good Friday football, North
Okay,
Melbourne,
they're out.
courtesy of Georgie Hewitt.
Thank you, George.
He's been astronomical and would be leading their best and fairest by
Isn't that
a
remarkable?
large distance.
Isn't that remarkable?
Am I right in saying when he left Sydney, he finished 3rd in their best and fairest a year before or
2
something?
years back, and then he fell out of favour.
Yeah,
a
he fell out of
little bit.
favour. He fell out of favour at Carlton in that season. He was used as sub 4 times, or subbed off sub, whatever it was. And now he's probably their most consistent player. I know
Yeah.
Paddy Cripps is in there.
What he
and Sam
does
Moss is in
really
there.
well is he's defensive mid, but he finds his own footy like at an alarming rate.
Massively.
Like,
Number
'cause-
3 for disposal. Now, I did this last night after all the footy. So if they didn't update the last game, I'm sure they would have. But anyway, that's where he sat last
Probably.
night when I was doing it. That's a huge season.
That's
There we
really
go.
good.
Yeah.
Good research by you.
I like that.
I'm going to go into Brisbane. So I think it was the loss, not that we all saw coming and that we tipped it, but the first few weeks of the season, it's hardly been convincing. They've just been getting the job
Yeah.
done. They're professionals. They're a premiership team. They're just like, okay, we'll turn up. We'll eventually get going. We'll win the game. But they never got it done on Thursday night. The one I wanted to pull out here is Zorko. And I
it,
didn't have,
was a hell of a patch there.
well,
from
I didn't have
Dane Zorko.
Oh, he was having,
a mare.
and then just copped the serve
Yeah.
from Fags at the end.
And then just kept
Yeah.
going with it, though.
So how much of this is because he was phenomenal last year, and I know like a lot of clubs declared that he was their most important player in terms of the way they play. He's the
Yeah, when
guy
he
who-
moved to
he's the
halfback.
architect, the
I remember
quarterback.
when he went to halfback against Fremantle over here when
Everything
they could
changed.
not move the ball.
Yeah.
They just couldn't move it, and then they still lost. But it just looked different.
He did,
Yeah.
and so he changed. He was the key that unlocked everything. He's pretty much around the same mark stat wise. Like, there's not a lot of stats that are way off. I didn't get too deep because I
Nah.
only had 5 minutes to look this up. But from the eye test, it definitely feels like something's off. And is this just an
But would
early
you say
season?
they're all off?
All of them are off.
20%.
They're all
But
off
if he's
20%,
the
yeah.
key to unlocking it
Yeah.
all, is that why? Because they were like this at the start of last year. I mean, their record's better now, but they were kind of off.
Yeah.
And then he went there, unlocked it. Now he's still there.
Yeah.
But is this just a slow start, or is this a I'm 36 years old thing?
Well, he wasn't even.
He's 36.
He wasn't even a neutral. He was a net negative on the weekend.
Oh,
Like, he
goodness.
was hurting him badly.
That was
Like,
a
yeah.
disaster for
Yeah,
Dane
because
Zorko.
often what happens is the cliff feels like it's, this guy's evergreen. He's never going to stop playing football.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it's like, holy crap, he looks like a senior citizen.
Yeah. No,
Now-
but they had some
well,
bad
now-
moments
Well,
already.
yeah, we're not there yet. but I'm
Yeah.
just flagging it as a few
Well,
more
no
weeks of this.
Zorko, no Lions, you're saying.
Well, I'm just like, is Zorko in that role? Is he able to still do it all? 'Cause
I
it's
think
a very
yes.
active role.
I think yes, he can.
Okay.
But I'd also be flagging players like Will Ashcroft, who are going even worse.
Well, I just looked at Ashcroft's numbers because I was like, oh, that
He
felt
had
like
two
a
good
really
games in the
quiet
middle
Ashcroft
there.
game. He had
Yeah.
a couple of big games.
Either side, he's been pretty ordinary.
Yeah, he was warming into it.
And then unwarmed himself.
I don't think they got the mix right. Because if you they had to move Fletcher to halfback
Yeah.
to get him out of there because it was getting a bit hard to fit everyone in.
Yeah.
I feel like they've got a lot of cooks, like the
Well,
two Ashcroft boys,
the double Ashcroft.
the double Ashcroft.
My little brother swears he'd rather Levi than Will.
Really?
Swears by it.
Well, I think we might end up there.
Yeah.
But
He's like,
it's a small sample
if
size.
they're in a bowl, he's taking his name out first.
Are you taking the two Ashcrofts or the two Dacoses?
Two Dacoses.
Two Dacoses.
Because of
Yeah, well,
one.
you're taking the two. Yeah, it's a Nick Dacos doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
Off you go, Nicholas.
All right, well, let's jump in on Hawthorn. What is going on with James Sicily? That one, the
kicking?
Is he, everything yesterday. He
marking?
could not mark
Yeah,
anything.
he actually looked like you at that training
He
session.
did look like
He did.
He's also just old and fat and his hammy's not
But
working
even
anymore.
there was one where he got a chop out where the commentator said, "Oh, Chol got in his way."
Yeah, no, he didn't.
That's right.
No,
He still just put his pants.
he didn't shit it. He just dropped the
Yeah.
mark. It was just weird.
was a couple.
And then dropped one
Yeah.
on the boundary line.
Yeah.
He could have again grabbed Hawthorn as a forward and won the
Yes.
And you could see like
And then when he got the shot to get him back, was it
Sprayed it.
level or not? He just sprayed it.
it was they were down 7, so he just all he needed
Yeah,
to do was
kick
either
it
kick
to
a
the
goal
goal. He couldn't
or
do
even miss
anything.
it and then get him a chance to get the 7-point
And,
play.
and then it makes his because he's always a bit lippy to the umpires, but it makes that look even worse
Yeah.
if you ordered on.
We've
getting
always
anywhere
said that
near it.
about him. When he's playing well, you put up with all the other stuff. But when he's playing poorly, you can't. The other stuff just starts to become a negative.
But we
Yes.
also said last year in a really respectful way that the Hawks young boys got that full of shit that Sis looked like the actual one that was
Yeah,
half
he's
normal.
level-headed.
Like, he was
Yeah.
a level-headed one.
yeah, he's looking around the room going, "How am I the sane one?"
I don't like him swinging forward. And I know yesterday he takes 3 marks he should have taken, kicks 3 goals. He's lauded as being the forward. Would you rather Josh Battle or Sicily, doing that sort of
You want
role?
Sicily down the back, don't you?
I just think keep
He's a better
Sicily there.
player.
Just keep Sicily there. He's a better player down
But
there.
this is
And I
why-
know it wasn't his
yeah.
day yesterday. He had a poor day, and he hasn't been his greatest start to his season. James Sicily, even put him on a wing.
I
And
reckon
I know his
he's-
kicking was
yeah.
shit, but he needs to be having more than 1 or 2 touches in the forward.
I reckon he's struggling to find his place
Yes.
with the Barris Battle editions.
But they shouldn't.
But I thought
he
it was-
should be
yeah.
magnet number 1,
Yeah,
and then
and
work
work-
around magnet
and that's
number 1.
why
But
it's
they
so
brought these two
strange.
guys in, and that's what they do.
Because the season was teed up for him with those two guys coming in there. He could play a bit looser and sort of do his thing back there.
Well,
but-
there's no forwards. That's where they're getting shot in the foot. When Deer comes back, Chol will become a third forward, and then who am I missing? Key forward.
Mitch Lewis.
Mitch Lewis is the other one. Sorry, and then I think Sicily just does what he pleases.
Yeah.
Play half back and just not worry about anything else other than kicking.
Did you
football.
hear Sam Mitchell had a bit of a stiffy for Cal Shadir already? He did one training session and he's very excited about it.
On that, sorry, just really quickly, just an extension, really quickly. Talking about Cal Shadir, did you catch all the media and stuff around the pancreatic cancer
I watched
stuff?
the pre-game.
Did you see the stuff where he spoke about his dad?
I didn't see that, no.
in the lecture theatre. Talking about the last time he spoke to his dad. Finn Callahan was the best friend of Deary's younger brother, so that's why the Giants had their socks on the weekend.
Yep.
Spoke so well. Like I was so impressed on the AFL 360. He was on there with his mother. The way he put his mum up in the lights of what she did, like tip your hat to that young man.
Yeah, we love
Fantastic.
him. I think
We're
we're all
all
in
in
on
on
Cal
Cal
Shadir.
all in. I know I'd never heard him really speak that much. Knew his dad really well. Just owned the Lakes Entrance pub. Paul, I know Greg really well. Kathy, his sister. Wonderful family, but to see his young lad, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, right.
Done.
Well said.
Your old man would he be classed as an investor of the Lakes Entrance pub? Or?
Well, Paul Deere and Dad used to own a few things together.
Oh, right.
Yep. Used to. The first ever football I ever met really was Deary with his 91 Norm Smith medal. All right, let's plough on. Let's go to the Giants. How about these numbers by the Giants? Starting at the top, Whitfield at 39 disposals, Tom Green 36, Lockie Ash 29, and Finn Callahan 27. That's a big day.
Big day.
Big day, boys. Big day.
Big day.
131 disposals between them.
A lot of sharing that.
A lot of sharing. Get it inside 50, lads. How many inside 50s do you reckon they had from 131 disposals?
Between those four guys.
Between those four.
Oh, no.
It's probably 10.
12 inside
Jesus
50s
Christ.
from 131 disposals. West Coast would go half a game with not touching the ball 131 times.
Who had the most?
Tom Green had 4, Whitfield and Ash 3, and Finn 2.
Finn too is
That is
surprising.
circle work.
Particularly the type of player he is and where he's normally getting
That
the
will
footy.
go down as
Yep.
arguably. We were at the pub Saturday and we were, how good's this? Buckle in, Adelaide
Well, yeah.
Giants, good game of footy, should be pretty free flowing, 2 good forward lines. I know Hogan was out. It was the worst game of football
ugly.
for the year.
I
Yeah.
kept refreshing my phone because I thought it was broken because the scores were in the
That
50s
whole
and the
Giants
30s.
kicked 4 goals.
It feels
4.
like that Saturday was
Remarkable.
there was some kind of vortex where Melbourne all of a sudden look $1 million. GWS Adelaide's the worst game of the round, and then Richmond beat the Suns. Like it was crazy town.
There's always a day like that. I reckon I'm going to start looking into gather round because I reckon weird stuff happens after gather round.
Post gather round.
I think there's some weird post gather round stuff going on where everyone's been away and it's been this different atmosphere and they're playing in this loose spot.
But the only real surprise was the Tigers beating the Suns. Like
Well, I think
Adelaide winning that game, it was just a shit
Yeah,
game
I know,
of
but the
footy.
quality of
Yeah.
the game was what
And,
was
and
shocking
Melbourne
me.
at the MCG beating Freo. Like,
Some of us saw that coming.
Yeah, well, yeah.
did you?
I told you last
Oh,
week
you
that
did
we were
say.
going to lose.
You did say. So anyway, I just thought you got to limit those numbers. That was the Giants of not a very good Giants team where they all still look like they're getting lots of footy.
So
But
that-
it
but is
clearly
that
did not
more-
go inside 50.
Is that more about Adelaide, the way they've set up? So that GWS look up
Well,
and
you've
go, we can't send
Yeah,
it in
but
there.
it's
no
it's-
Hogan.
Yeah, but just get it in. You're not going
Maybe
to
it's
score
a lack
from the
of
half
faith.
back line going sideways, laterally, backwards. Just get it in and you might get a free kick or something.
Yeah.
I think if you're GWS, you kind of got to forget about that one.
Oh,
That's
you've been-
one
that's
just
your
like,
mulligan.
Yeah, we'll
Oh, well, let's go straight into Adelaide then off the back of that. Hats off. I've been saying they need to beat someone good. They've done it. There we go.
Yeah, but how good
Beat
were
Gold
they?
Coast already.
It wasn't the prettiest game in the world, but they
Yeah.
got the job done, and they now have a scalp that at least when we look back on who have they beaten,
Wow.
we can just go, oh, well, they beat GWS.
Yes.
I thought,
Yep.
that's pretty good. So Rankin is clearly the danger man this week after what Pickett did to Fremantle, and we'll get into Fremantle, how they stopped that a bit later, I guess. But I think Rankin is primed for a big Friday night. I want to talk about Ben Keys. Do you reckon he's the man who does the most with the least in the AFL? Because I wouldn't class Ben Keys as like a silky, clean, high-skilled
Keys are.
player.
The Keys has got some
works.
uncanny skill,
But that's
though,
not-
where
but
it
he's-
just
he's a
somehow goes
freak.
through.
That's what I mean.
Like, it just goes through.
I wouldn't say he's an elite kick of the footy.
I'm not
but
sure
some of the
his kicks
stuff he
even
does.
tumble end over
Yeah,
end.
but you wouldn't
I
say
don't
he's also a best and fairest winner. And he is.
Years.
Like,
That's
it's
right,
the
yeah.
Keeser.
He's kicked a goal in every game this season, so he's got 11.
Yeah.
And he's had a 4, a 2, and a 3. I think of all the players in the AFL, like I don't expect anything from
No.
Ben Keys, but he constantly gives me
Do
something.
you know, the only person in Australia that expects anything from Ben Keys is James Brayshaw.
He loves him.
Does he?
He blows his lid every single time. When
He
the
does.
when the Keeser gets near the ball, he goes off his rocket.
He does.
And the Keeser almost knows when JB's calling because the Keeser matches his energy.
Goes up a notch.
It just
the
lifts
gather
an
round,
energy.
he was unbelievable.
Mate, I don't think I've ever sat there going, oh shit, who are they going to sub off? And you think of 3 or 4 names.
Yeah, never
I've
Keys.
never in my life thought of Ben. And you think when you see the paper, like, oh, geez, Ben Keys might be at 8 disposals or something. He's never someone who's not working his ass off to
because
help.
he's a potential match winner. As weird
Somehow,
as that sounds,
somehow,
like
yeah.
he could kick 3 1/4.
Yeah.
Like at any point. I feel like I've watched 10 games in my life where Ben Keys has either won them the game or got them back in the game, and
Yeah.
that makes no sense to my brain.
That makes no sense. It certainly doesn't
doesn't.
make any sense to Brisbane's brain.
No,
No,
When they got rid of
yeah,
him.
this
Correct.
bloke's no good.
Like,
And
hold
all
on a
of
minute.
sudden-
Can I just ask one question? Who's had the better career so far, Ben Keys or your man Cam Rayner? Take the premiership out of it, but
Oh,
like,
well, you can't tell. The premiership is a
no.
is a-
That's achievements. But let's just say, like, who's
Ben
been
Keys.
the better?
Ben Keys
the
is
better player.
Yeah, Ben
Ben
Keys.
Keys would be a better player in Brisbane's
Ben
lineup.
Keys is a better regular season player.
I think he is.
Cam Rayner's had big
Yeah.
finals.
I think he is.
All right, well, let's go quickly to Fremantle just before we get into it. As a proud major sponsor of the Fremantle Football Club, Woodside has accepted the challenge of supporting local footy at all levels, from grassroots to greatness, so it can thrive throughout WA. Woodside, Australia's leading energy company. So Fremantle, actually speaking just very quickly, the Woodside NGA
Yes.
Academy.
Yes.
Ryder Luke.
I tell you what,
Ryder Luke.
Ryder Luke. Not Luke Ryder.
Ryder
Luke.
I love that.
it's good.
Kicked 8 from 8 kicks in the
Where
first
at?
half at South Freo Colts on the weekend.
Yeah.
But he just come up from, I think, Mundijong or somewhere.
Fantastic.
End of last year. Got
8
bananas.
kicks, 8 hot dogs.
8
So
hot dogs.
whatever they're doing, Woodside, in investing in these
These
young
NGA
people,
Academy.
it's clearly
Yeah.
doing well because they've got
Toby
3,
Wan,
right?
Toby Wan had. They
Is
got
it
3
Wan or
ats-
Wan?
Or Wan.
Because it's better if it's Wan.
It's
Yeah,
Wan.
yeah,
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah, so they've
How
got
many
3
goals
at
you
South
think?
Freo. So he had 27 and 2. And then their next, the kid who's coming up from Lek Grace had 26 and
Like
2.
Grace. Ooh.
big inside mid from Lake Grace.
The next five.
Lucas Robinson.
Seems to be some talent out of Lake
Mate,
Grace.
Little bit of
Grace has
talent out
got
of
to
Lake
be.
Grace.
They're the Bearstows are from Lake Grace.
And then there's
Yeah.
a lot of
Mortons, all the Mortons.
Mortons are.
They
That's
grew
right.
up across the road from
But the
Fife.
Liam Baker. Liam Baker's from Lake Grace.
He's from
just over
Pingering.
he's just over the border.
Similar region, but not. If you
I
say he's from Lake Grace, the Pingering people was about
they get
60 of
upset.
them. They'll go
Yeah.
mad.
I say I'm from Lakes Entrance, but I'm from Lake Tyers Beach, which is a small little town.
Right.
So you just,
Yeah, it's just close enough.
more of the
region.
land,
It's the
people
Shire.
know it. No, more people know it.
Go by
Yeah.
whatever the Shire's
Yeah.
called.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was everything that worked for Fremantle previously went missing. So the handball game wasn't there. Tracy was missing. The Clark couldn't get anything going from defence. Like he wasn't
Yeah.
really dashing out
He
of there.
started on Pickett. And
then
it was
Pickett
like
went bananas.
he quickly realised I've got a horrible day ahead of
Yes.
me, and then that gets in his head, and then he can't
He doesn't
give the
attack.
bounce off the back.
Yeah.
Did you know what Melbourne's highest score in the entire games
It was
this
like
season,
64
this
or
season
something,
was?
wasn't it?
Before the weekend.
They'd scored.
Scored.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they beat it in the
74.
they beat it in
Wow.
the
Do
first half.
you know what it was at half time? 74.
Yeah. Well, they end up with
Half-time.
110.
Yeah, 110 or something like that.
Yeah. So the question is with so Darcy clearly not match fit because
he got
Gawn
murdered.
just got murdered him late.
Now, I don't know whether my mates, as I said, my 3 or 4 closest footy shit-talking mates, they're about to sue Freo for the damage that they're doing to them. They can't have it anymore. But one of them shot the shit and said, Max Gawn had 20 disposals after halftime, 8 clearances and 8 score involvements. Now, I don't know if he was making that up, but it seems like when you picture the game,
It looked like
it looked like he did that.
Every single time there was a moment, Max Gawn was in the front of it.
Yeah.
It was remarkable.
Vintage,
And there was a
vintage.
few moments where he just shrugged Sean Darcy off like he was a bag of potato chips.
But what do you do then?
Well, and Sean Darcy's been
he
rushed
needs,
back, right?
mate, he needs time. Like that's
But you can't keep losing.
No,
like-
they need a second. They
You
need
can't lose games
They need
to
Luke
give
Jackson
time.
to
Yes.
come back in and then
They need
be
Luke
that
Jackson.
chop
But
out.
then Luke Jackson comes in and rucks. Then what does Sean Darcy do? Play
Well, no,
forward.
Sean Darcy, but then Sean Darcy has to carry less of the
Gives him a
load.
chop out.
He's
So,
chop-
but then you're not doing Luke Jackson as Luke Jackson.
Here's what I will say. If you're
50-50.
if you're an actual premiership contender and you're a mentally strong team, you don't lose that game. You just go
No.
in there and you go, these guys are pests. They're all fired up, but so what?
JL wasn't happy.
But if you're a little
Not tough.
shaky, if you go in there a little shaky, because Melbourne was always up against it. I said it last
Yeah.
week. You could see it a mile away.
Oh,
and
I
I've
couldn't.
talked to lots of Freo fans, and
Yeah.
they knew. They knew going in that this is a game
Yeah.
that they're going to drop because
Well, what do we talk about? Austin Wanamiri, and it was bloody Cozzy Pickett
Oh,
this
yeah.
time
Mate,
around.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like they go in there and they get punched in the face, and then they don't have a reaction. And they tried a few times to come
what
back.
about Cozzy dropping that as he
Oh,
ran
yeah.
into goal, or was it that or that, whatever it
Sorry.
was?
Is that not the greatest? Like adding money to your contract.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like-
They need to send the runner out and be like, mate, the job's yours. Like, we're going to make it
Yeah,
happen.
enough.
Just
The
stop.
Freo runner was running out
Enough.
offers.
Yeah,
He was running
yeah.
up to every goal that went up.
He's making sure their picks lower so that
yeah.
they can get the trade done.
Correct.
All right, let's get to Port Adelaide. They've gone bang bang. They've gone Sydney and Hawthorn.
Haven't they?
Yeah.
Win-win. But they've lost to the Saints and Essendon, which is
So it's just they were just shrugging off
so
the rust.
yeah. But they've now even
waiting
the
for
ledger. They
Butters.
should have won the other two and probably lost the other two.
Yeah.
So it's swung around. They lost to Collingwood, which is fine. Mitch Georgiades, your man.
My man.
He's kicked 42 goals since round 12 last year.
I thought you were going to say this
Yeah.
season. I was like,
Yeah.
Jesus,
No,
he's going well.
But
He was goalless in round 1 from memory, and
Yeah.
then maybe went 4-3-3-3-3 or
Who's the
something like
Geelong fella? Oliver?
Ollie Henry.
Ollie Henry, yeah.
But Mitch Georgiades, so 42 since last year, so that's 19 games. So essentially that's probably a 55-goal season if he's played the whole
Yep.
lot. That is a big return for Mitch Georgiades,
I'll tell you
especially
what.
when Dixon, he could have kicked on the weekend. Did you see that game? How many marks did he drop?
Yeah.
Which 1 or 2 were his issue, but 3 or 4 were just kicked at his feet or kicked over his head, and he dropped maybe 5 opportunities to take shots at goal, and he just didn't get them. Not to his fault, but he's certainly a presence.
The beachfront property that I bought it.
Yeah, you were in.
Georgiades
Oh, yeah,
Island,
yeah,
which
yeah,
everyone
yeah.
else sold.
No,
And
no,
so-
I'm on the bridge trying to get on the
I
island.
was
I'm
able
not
to.
on.
Well, I got a few properties.
Yeah.
I was able to buy the one next door because
Yeah.
he sold,
that was
and then the
run
one next to
down.
that, and it's a bit run down. But
Yes.
this one's got a jetty, and I was like, I'll take that. I need a jetty.
Yes.
So I've now got 7 properties
And
on
a
the
deli.
beachfront. And a deli. It's
Talk-
the only deli on the island.
Talking about jetties, that was what Paul Deere and Old Man used to own together, jetties.
Really? I didn't know you could. What do you mean own a jetty?
Some private properties have jetties and shit. So they have a petrol station and stuff. I don't know.
They own
but
a jetty?
Yeah, like for boats and stuff.
And so the
What?
boats would pay to use the jetty.
Well, I assume. Well, the petrol station would have people park there, and then they could do their thing. And,
So they own a petrol station as well.
Yeah.
Big money in petrol
And
stations.
do
No,
they
I
like
don't
Mitch
think so.
Georgiades?
They love Georgiades.
That came out weird. How did that word didn't leave my mouth?
But it's funny you
Georgiades.
mentioned funny you mentioned Jetties. Anyway, yeah, Miss Georgiades.
He looks like he likes being
Georgiades.
He's going to
Can
be.
you guys have one more crack at saying the name?
Georgiades.
Georgiades.
Mitch Georgiades.
I felt like the commentator on the weekend was saying it incorrectly too, but he's certainly an All-Australian forward at the moment.
He loves being the big dog, doesn't he?
Yes.
He's a big dog. So let's do. Oh, jeez. Yeah, okay. The Western Bulldogs. The Bont was fantastic. It was beautiful to watch. 30 disposals, 2 goals. But Sam Darcy, man, that sucks.
But he's not an ACL though.
Still 4 months.
It's still a period.
Yeah, well,
Mate, it's 4 or 5 months. Like by the time he comes
not a
back, the
year.
season's pretty much missed. This was his breakout year.
How would their forward line be? Norton as the third
The
forward,
third banana.
Darcy,
And
Jamara,
No.
and Cody.
Yeah.
That is a very good forward
Everybody
line.
up and running.
That is a brilliant forward
It's
line.
probably the best forward line.
It probably is.
On paper.
Yeah.
And they're kind of missing that small at the moment, aren't they?
Well, they're missing everything. Yeah.
They're missing everything now.
Yeah.
And so now what happens is, one, we've got to just hope that Sam Darcy comes back with the same sort of trajectory, which I think he will.
But
They're
then
pretty
you
good
think-
at repairing
so
stuff now.
Just say 4 or 5 months.
Yeah. It's
That gets you to
That gets you-
end of 20s rounds.
Back for a finals run.
Are you going to play him back
well.
for
Then you've got to work
finals
out where
run?
you're at. Where are the Bulldogs at?
Or you're going to give him
Well,
another 4 months off. Oh, yeah.
They're probably going to throw. Are they going to throw Bont forward a bit more? You think?
Well,
I
they
think
said that
this
on
is
the
what I'm
weekend.
gonna say. I think
Yeah.
Norton's going to have to be the main man, and he
Yeah.
looked okay as the main man.
Actually played well.
Sometimes people just are miscast, and maybe
Yeah.
he's meant to be the main man, but he just can't be because there's other guys
No,
there.
he's not meant to be.
He's
You
just
know,
not
I reckon
as
he
good.
is. I reckon he could be a 50-goal forward if he's the man.
He has been, hasn't he,
He has
previously?
been. He's done it before. Rory Lobb is probably going to have to go forward.
What about the crowd love Lobby
can.
now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's turned the corner somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how he
when
did
he went
it.
back.
He
People
just
love-
started to become a
Yeah.
consistent player, and
Yeah.
Yep.
Intercepting marks. Like people love
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, and
Anyone
he-
that can intercept a mark, we love.
And the head thing, the colouring.
And now that's
Yeah,
Because
now
he's
that's
lent
put it
into
on.
it.
Well, he went Good Friday appeal on the
Yes,
weekend,
that
which
was
is
that was
one over east.
If you're a PR company and you were advising,
Yeah.
yeah,
Robbie,
you got to talk to
that's
Rory
how,
Lobb
mate, here's
now.
what this'll
But
tip-
what
this'll
goes
tip
through
you
your
over the
head?
edge.
I still can't work it out.
Dye, bleach.
To put a lobster on the back of your head.
Well, it's all the chemicals from. It's all the chemicals.
When I had hair, this is probably why I mistreated it. One
yeah.
footy trip, I got my footy club's name bleached into the side of the head.
That's
ya?
why you've got
Yeah.
none left now.
That's why I mistreated my hair along the way.
But in fairness, if he went along and did a Good Friday appeal or added a few other things, he'd be loved.
yeah.
Like that was brilliant what he did.
Mate, he's heading that
Yeah.
space.
No, I agree.
51. Norton's had a 47, 51, and a 44. 2021, 2022,
Yeah, so
23.
he's capable.
Yeah.
Had a 42 in 2019, second season. Nice. Let's go to Gold Coast. Oh, I feel like that was punishment for the vibe check and just being a little bit too happy about him.
You
Wow.
vibed him.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did a vibe check and all of a sudden it was very off.
I think too, a couple of them might have eaten meat on Friday. That,
yeah,
that was our karma at the
I
pub
went
on the
to-
weekend. We did a little vote who ate meat on Saturday, and we all ate meat, and we all had a shocking day at the pub.
I got guilty. I went to went down to Sullivan Logistics Stadium, the Waffle on Friday night
Oh,
to
yeah.
see the lights and everything going, and
in,
there was fish and chips.
What lights were on?
Sorry, what?
The new broadcast lights that have been installed.
Sorry, excuse me. So where
Sullivan
did you go?
Logistics
Where?
Stadium in
Where
Leederville.
is that?
Leederville.
Just call it
Leederville
Leederville
State-
Oval, mate.
Leederville
Sullivan
Oval, mate.
Logistics Stadium, mate.
Clearly he's on the
And
take here.
what lights?
Clearly he's on the
They
take.
installed new, multi-million-dollar new broadcast lights for the facility.
I'm picturing a Basil Zemplis drone show or something. You're just telling me there was lights.
There was lights, and it was
So
the
you're
first one
telling
there.
me on Good Friday,
Under lights.
you
Under
drove
lights.
to watch lights.
At Leederville Oval.
I watched a waffle game under lights
You are
at
a
Leederville
wanker.
Oval.
Well, he was stoned, to be fair. He's staring at the light tower going,
He
But
thought
then
it was
said
the
that-
sun.
But I sat at the
Look
van
how
going to
bright the
get
sun
some
is.
dinner, and I caved and went to fish and chips.
Yeah, that's
It's just
okay.
a little voice in the back of your head.
Well, the voice was chirping at me. And
Yeah.
I just,
Where was
Put down
this
the
again?
bacon. Sullivan Logistics Stadium.
He has lost the plot.
Hasn't he
this
lost
bloke.
himself?
He has really
Transport
lost himself.
logistics partner at
Cut
WA
him off.
Football.
Yeah,
Cut him off.
cut him
Cut him
off.
off.
Anyway, Nick Vlosten was clearly a rock, but Gold Coast just couldn't get it going. The connection was there, and this is probably there's a bit of lack of faith in the forward line still.
Yeah, the Ben King.
Ben King is still-
just did not get it touched.
Yeah,
Like,
but
he
But
couldn't get
that is
near
that
it.
lead up forward. That's
Yeah.
that lead
Yeah.
up forward. They can be cut out of games quickly.
Yeah, I just it's
You need to crash, do a bit more crashing.
a lot of flags there. But again, Richmond, you can't just pretend that Richmond are at zero.
Well, their
No.
win-loss was 2.5 wins at the start of the year.
yeah, they're
And
at
they're
two
gonna
They're
already.
at 2, and they're sitting 14th or something.
So
on the
we'll
runners.
get to them later because their
Yeah.
run coming up
Yeah,
is
yeah,
also
yeah.
pretty juicy.
Yeah,
Who's Gold Coast got this week?
I don't know how I was talking about Richmond. I did Richmond
I
recently.
can tell you.
This is Gold Coast, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm talking about Gold Coast.
Sydney.
So they're another one. They just need more people to lock it in when it gets there.
That's
At People First Stadium on the Gold Coast.
Is that
People First Stadium.
yeah, okay.
Just if we want to keep
As
mentioning
opposed to
sponsors.
Leadville Oval.
Yeah.
We don't know. People First Stadium. Kick it in, so don't worry.
Me? All right,
you're
get
right.
ready, Joshy. We go to Collingwood.
Oh, yeah.
Flag favourites. Nick Dacos, clearly the best player in the comp, and bullet them. I don't even want to have this argument ever again.
Oh.
I don't want to have the argument ever again about that.
It's a reverse
Ever
bullet.
again.
It's the reverse bullet.
Ever again.
It's a drop the point and then bullet, so we can't discuss
that's never
it.
been done.
So you can't come at me. We argued about it last week, and you led with Caleb Sarong. Bedtime.
No, you're
Nick
right.
Dacos is
No,
the
no,
best
you're
player
right.
in the comp.
Well, we throw a bunch of pilly in
I was
there.
just asking the question, and clearly I was wrong.
It was almost like Nick Dacos was in the studio during the argument and was like, all right.
You're welcome, Collingwood.
He's unbelievable.
I love the reverse use
Yeah,
of
that's
the
a
bullet.
reverse.
I
See you
love
later.
that. That's
No
that's a
brand
mic
new.
drop. Okay, let's go to Essendon then. Hardly convincing. If Peter Wright's not there on Friday night, they probably lose that game by 4 goals.
Yeah.
Peter Wright do that.
I tell you what, that was nice. He's a lovely guy. We interviewed him post-match
2 metre.
in the rooms.
I reckon he lost his sting. I know it was at the SCG where he cleaned up about 2 years ago.
that's
Came out
right.
never the same footballer after that 3 or 4 weeks
Yeah,
off.
who was that? It wasn't Rampy, was it? I can't remember who the player was that
Dunno.
he got. But yeah, was it Fox?
No,
don't know
I
if
can't remember.
One of those guys.
Yeah.
No, you're right. But he was so humble
Yeah.
and so just happy to be there and happy to be back and playing footy. Do you know what I noticed a couple of times, and I wanted to ask you about this? I noticed with Wright or Draper, whoever was in the ruck at the time, they as soon as they go straight forward and drag Flynn into defence.
Yeah.
And Flynn he played well, Flynn, like it was his best game.
He got
of the year.
going, yeah.
But every time they dragged him in there, a goal came out of it because he had no idea what he was doing as a defensive ruckman.
No.
That's a tactic, right? It's like we've got Flynn, so we'll drag
If you know,
because
yeah.
you know that he's not
Yeah,
going to
of
be
course.
capable.
Well,
particularly if you're Wright, who's got forward craft.
Right. If he gets opportunity from 50, we saw he can slot them.
Yeah.
But then also think about round 1, King kicked 6. Round 4 or whatever, Hogan kicked 9. Now
Yeah.
Wright's kicked 6.
Yeah.
I just think the whole back line is susceptible to big.
Yeah,
Clearly.
yeah.
Like,
And that's what McQualter said
there's no help. There's, worrying about your own backyard a little bit when you're getting piped.
So what do they do about Draper now?
That's a disaster.
I know it's a worst case, right?
Yeah.
Because we already talked about the worst case, which is now he's going to be the star, and we thought that was the worst case because they're going to have to sign him. But now he can't even play. So Essendon are in this awkward space
And
where
it's an Achilles. And I don't know. I always see Achilles as being one that.
So
Like
Adelaide,
an ACL, you
hard.
land and something snaps, like the force of something will force
Yeah.
your knee.
Achilles was ready to
Achilles
go.
can just go. Like
They sound bad too, don't they? When they
Yeah.
go, you can hear them.
So if you're Adelaide now, are you just going? Oh,
I'm not.
sorry,
I'm
Sam.
not certain
No, we
Adelaide.
changed phones. Oh no, don't.
I'm not certain Adelaide were as big into it as what we think.
Okay.
I think they're probably thinking if you look at the last 10 premiership winners,
yeah,
there wasn't a lot invested. There wasn't a lot invested in ruckman.
No.
So I don't know whether.
So now if you're Essendon, you
I think Essendon sign him, and I think
But,
Adelaide
I think-
say we can't. Take the
And you
risk.
could probably sign him for a better deal.
what a moment for Toddy Goldstein though.
Oh
Yeah, you just roll through.
Anzac Day.
He's
Thanks
not
for
dead yet.
coming.
He's still coming.
It
36.
also shows. Imagine if they didn't have him on the books.
No.
Yeah.
2 metre Peter kicked 6 and then has to ruck for the rest of the year.
And I remember thinking at the start of the year, why have they kept Toddy Goldstein? Well, this is
Here's-
why.
here's why.
This is why.
They saw it.
All right.
They probably kept him for coaching purposes. than anything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, one of those ones. We'll go to Richmond. So this is how you rebuild. This is what you want to see. I mean, their veterans are doing it well, but everybody else is contributing and they've got young talent coming through.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a perfect scenario for Richmond. Seth Campbell, very good.
Yeah, we like him.
And
Yeah.
putting together a really good year.
Yeah.
Another 2 goals. But this is their run coming up. So what have they? They've won 2 now.
All right, close my eyes. I'm picturing it.
All right. So first they have Melbourne.
Winnable.
Then they have Hawthorn.
Not winnable.
Then they have West Coast Eagles.
Where is that?
That is at.
Regardless, it's winnable.
It's winnable.
It's winnable, regardless.
Is it at the G? I think it's at the G.
Let me hang on. Give
No,
me
it
a
is at the
second,
G.
let me find it out.
It's not here.
It's not going to be here.
No.
Come on, Rennie.
West Coast at the MCG.
Yeah.
Then they
I
have.
gave it to him too.
It's that Sunday
It's a
11:10.
layup.
Well, no, because I f***ed up the next one, so I had to check anyway. Then they have North Melbourne at the
okay.
MCG.
So I reckon they
and
can
then they
pinch,
have Essendon.
they can pinch
at the
one
MCG.
in that. I think they can pinch one.
So what they
Out of
at least.
West Coast Eagles, North
And North
Melbourne, and
Melbourne,
Essendon.
Minimum one.
Yeah, I reckon they can get
They
2
can
of
be
those.
2, yeah.
And the thing is, they're now edging further. Like West Coast are not going to catch them if they win a couple more.
No, I think
don't
West Coast end up
will
number
catch them
no.
now.
No.
West
Which
Coast
is
end up with a number
probably
1
good
pick.
news
Yeah.
if you're a West Coast Eagles.
And do they have? Do
Well, it's
Richmond
gonna be
have?
North Melbourne, actually.
Did I hear last night North Melbourne? They gave away their first round
Yes,
draft.
yes.
Richmond has
to
theirs.
Richmond.
To Richmond. So
So at the moment, it's pick 2 from North Melbourne.
Richmond are playing
pick
with
3,
house money.
Pick 3.
So
yeah.
at the
Richmond
moment,
are like, hey, we've got
So Richmond will have pick.
they already got 3 and 4.
Yeah.
they've got 2 in the top. They'll end up with
Unbelievable.
2 in the top 6.
Yeah, and if North Melbourne
At
gets worse,
worst case scenario.
I still can't work out that trade.
no, they just wanted that
Man, neither.
Whitlock. Yeah, they must have assumed they were going to be good.
I think they thought they'd bounce a little bit. They
Yeah,
love
they
Whitlock.
haven't.
That's-
I saw that
I
last
think everybody universally thought that's a better draft, but
Is
not,
there a world?
not that much better.
Is there a world where North Melbourne?
I'm getting to
finishes
North
last?
Melbourne. We're about to do North.
Could do. All right, well, let's lean into it.
So North Melbourne, was it Kane last night? I screenshotted this.
There's a lot of-
Yep.
So, and it was a reasonable argument. They went to Matthew Lloyd for his opinion. Of
I know,
course, he's
that
done
must
some
be fully
stuff around the-
classified then.
Yes.
If Lloyd's on it.
Yep. Sorry. So Finn O'Sullivan, a midfielder, Colby McKercher, midfielder, Zane Dersma, a forward, and then it's like Sheasel mid, Wardlaw mid, Horne-Francis mid, Phillips mid, Power mid, Taryn Thomas mid, LDU mid, and Jai Simpkin mid. And there's a Tyler Goad in there. That's top 20 picks since 2016. Mid.
And Dersma's probably a mid.
Could do a bit of both. Lloydie's point was that the issue with being drafting so high, each and every year, the
Good
most
mids.
spoken about 5 players in every draft are these 5 exceptional midfielders.
Yep.
And you can't really bring yourself to go, we've got pick 3. At pick 10, we have a tall forward.
But we've got to take
We will look
Finn
like an
O'Sullivan.
absolute dick if we take the
And I think
key who doesn't do anything and the mid does something.
top end guys have been academy aligned recently, so like Jed
Yeah.
Walter, etc.
Yeah, so it's interesting. They are just stacked with mids, and it just stands out like, and what's my saying? Fool me twice, fool me never again, and fool us never again. But my Lord, I sat there again on Good Friday, and I watched it, and I thought, I was texting Hamish Brayshaw. He went with North Melbourne over 40. I went North Melbourne over 21.
Why are we?
No,
Based
they
on
fool
what?
me, mate. They fool me.
They got it. Like you just look at them,
It's your
assume they're going to be
Clarko,
good
like,
at some point.
You just keep waiting for Clarko to be
Well,
I'm
I'm nervous for Hodgie.
telling you.
I'm nervous for
It's not going to
Hodgie.
be pretty.
Well, what's Hodgie got?
Well, Kane went after him last week, and Hodgie told him to shut up.
Okay, let me put a scenario in the air. Let's say this continues. This
Yeah.
is their season, and they just win like maybe.
Well, what did
3.
you expect them to win?
Well, you thought they'd win 8.
Yeah, I thought they'd win 8 to 10.
I thought they'd struggle to win more than 6. So I'm not that surprised by this. But let's say they win 3 or 4. They stumble along, and there's one good game every now and then. Are you still saying, let's do Clarko, when there's a guy like Adam Simpson sitting there who's a North Melbourne man who's, 10 years younger than Clarko-ish?
Yeah, but rewind 12 months ago, if we'd have said, and Simo was coaching at West Coast,
Yeah.
you can have Simo for Clarkson.
It would have been,
Yeah.
No one would have said yes.
No,
so
but I think we
a
all-
bit of a
But I think we all knew that it wasn't that Simo can't coach.
No.
It's just that the time had run out
Yeah.
at West Coast.
Simo
I
reckon
reckon
would be
it's
a great
I reckon
coach.
it's a conversation at the end of the year.
Simo just got back from the Masters as well, funnily enough.
Yeah, with Big Spider Burt.
Yeah,
He's having a good life.
had a ball.
He's living the dream. Let's go to Sydney. Do we think that Errol Goulden is the most valuable player in the AFL based on what we've seen from Sydney? And when I say that, I don't mean he's the best player in the AFL because clearly that's Nick Dacos.
Yeah.
Second is Bont. But if you remove
Thank
him,
you.
third is Callum Sarong. But if you remove Errol Goulden from what the Swans do, because of the way he plays and how he connects everything and he runs all day and he gets to those blank spots and the way he uses the footy and the way he delivers the footy inside that very mediocre forward line,
Yeah.
like I just think what we've seen is that you can't replace what he does.
Yes, I agree
So
with that.
he's the most valuable piece.
Yeah, potentially. But also, Heaney had, 7 touches in the first quarter, then had 4 touches combined in quarter 2
Chad
and 3.
Warner.
It's all a bit
Chad
stinky.
Warner fumbled
Nothing.
everything and then didn't work hard at times.
Yep.
They're not at their best.
No,
When they're A+, they make everyone look good.
They're
so
missing a lot of players.
They are missing a lot.
Like the Goulden, Mills, Papley, it's hard to argue that anyone's got a better 3 missing.
yeah.
Now that the Bont's back,
Well, the dogs. are
the
still-
Bont, Trelaw, Ugle-Hagen, now Darcy.
Yeah.
Obviously, clearly the
midfield.
dogs
Well,
are still-
And they just
but they're
also
running
don't
out of
have-
time. They don't look good at all.
I'm not writing them off though. From a flag perspective, yes, I think
I said 14.
we can't say that they can win it from
I-
here. But I still think they can make the finals.
What do they want?
Yeah, they can
2
always
games.
make the finals.
I
It's hard to
could
write them
just
off.
see a little sweetheart run coming where they win 6 or 7 in a row.
I don't.
Maybe not
I don't
yet.
see it.
Is
I
that
don't see it
where
at all.
is that where Ugle-Hagen lands? Were you expecting?
That would be my bet.
Yeah, I
Like,
think that
is
probably
there-
that's
fits
not
with
based
you.
on any intel. That's just it. Just
Yeah,
makes
that's
sense.
a vibe.
They need someone like that.
Yeah,
but is
that's
there a
what I
world
mean.
where he doesn't land anywhere?
Yeah,
yes,
People say
absolutely.
no thanks.
There's a world where he needs a year off. And
But
then,
if you have a year off, you're
well, that's what I'm saying.
so far back.
Things either go
Yeah.
really pear-shaped at that
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
or it's a miracle and it comes
Reality
good.
check.
If I was Sydney, where they're at, I'd be doing
need him.
so much due diligence
Yeah.
right now on a Ugle-Hagan because that forward line, you can't be relying on Hayden McLean and Aaron Francis, who, by the way, look like Wayne Carey.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
25
there's-
minutes.
Actually, let's hold fire on everything to do with Jamara and
Just
Sydney
put Aaron
and let
Francis in.
Francis have a crack at it.
Leave him.
He had something
give
like
him the
13
game.
disposals and 3 goals
Can you
in that last
imagine
quarter.
if all this time he's just been miscast?
Yeah.
And Aaron Francis is meant to be a
Star.
full forward
Yep.
leading out of the square, just being a superstar.
Plug a Francis.
Well, you must admit, the one good thing that came out of that game on the weekend
Darren
was
Francis.
Francis.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Callum Mills might be back this week, which will help.
Okay.
Is it me? Let's go to Melbourne and let's talk about Keziah Pickett is Melbourne's most important player. I think we saw on the weekend. So between him and Gawn, he's now Gawn sort of.
I know Gawn was amazing, but
Gawn's he's absolutely 5 goals for from 24 disposals and looked untouchable.
What about Sue when he was thudding it? You couldn't see the ball at the G when he kicked it,
Yeah.
but all you could see was the goal umpire.
Yep.
Just,
Looking straight up.
stiff looking over his head. You're
Yeah.
like, they were going
Straight
60
through.
metres straight.
Straight through.
So it's now an interesting next 6 months, and also Melbourne finding out where they are. It's whether how much do they overpay to keep him? Do they let him go?
So he's got 2 years left on his deal.
Yes,
2 years.
but
not
he'll
one.
want him to renegotiate something,
Correct,
right?
if he's going to stay. But
Yeah.
so he's changed managers. I think you know that. Anthony
Van
Van
der
der Weyden,
Weyden,
he's
yeah.
now with, who's a
WA
WA-based guy. He was
Yep.
with Peter Road, who's a
got
South
Bolton?
Australian guy.
I
He's got
think
Bolton.
he's got Bolton
He's
now,
got
yeah.
Sam Powell-Pepper. He's got Narkle. He's got a few players. And obviously the Bolton-Narkle links there we all know about.
Yeah.
The families are very,
Yeah.
very close and very, very tight.
So what are you
Van der-
saying?
I'd say that's another sign, don't you think? I mean, when you ask the people involved, they're like, no, it's not what it is. Like,
It's just
pretty-
standard
come
practice.
on.
Yeah, no,
But I mean, come on. But Melbourne, I know, are digging in. Now, whether or not that's just a power play, because you've got to dig in. You can't just
Melbourne-
say, "Oh, does he want to get a?" Oh,
Oh, sure.
fine.
For
No
Melbourne,
worries.
Second rounder.
Yeah.
Like you can't do that.
Is that all you got?
This
Right.
is a Bolton Richmond situation.
Oh, do you
Where
think
it's,
so?
make the
where,
most
it's a,
of it.
where it's a knock on the door. Bolton comes to Richmond and says, "I want to go
Yep.
to Freo." You go, "Oh no, God, this is going to no way. Oh shit, we're in a rebuild. We can't lose you." Then you go, "Well, we can because
many
we
firsts?
need the picks
Yeah.
desperately."
You could make an argument though that he's their. Well, no, I think it's obvious he's their best player under 24.
Yes.
But I mean, Bolton's
How old is
Richmond's
he?
best player.
He's 23, I think.
Jesus.
maybe
Yeah.
24. Yeah.
Oh, that's one I've been so wrong about was Pickett, and I've turned the last 12 months.
Yeah, you were way off.
Yeah.
Because now that he can go into midfield as well, he's just an extra.
That was
He
that
can
was,
do everything.
that
And
was the best-
again, the pieces he ran in and kicked the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the most. I reckon it's in the top 5 for performances of the year so far,
yeah.
individually.
Well, funnily enough, it clashed with Dacostas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Uh,
you throw Toby's one from a few weeks back was pretty good too.
Oh, yeah, and
let's
Jesse
get-
Hogan kicking 9.
Last round, here we go.
Yeah, you lose a couple because it gets you.
Yeah, well, it was 9 kicks.
Okay, let's go over and run with. I've got the Cats, sorry. Bailey Smith, exceptional start of the season. He has to be high up in the Brownlow.
Oh, you just
Yeah,
It has to be
have
because
to
they're
be.
winning and
Plus,
again, who's
plus the headband
The
and the
headband.
long hair.
It's like the Amos.
So this is what
Every
I thought
best Ferris
yesterday.
has dreadies.
So last week was the finger. This week was the footy to the head.
Yeah.
And Chris Scott, in fairness, backed the player. You know, it's theatre. The AFL
Yeah.
love it. They'll promote it. So, and I start to see that more and more now, like the Kenny aeroplane thing.
Yep.
Finding him 20 grand, but then you run it on all the commercials
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah,
like
yeah.
they'll promote Bailey Smith smashing the football into
Absolutely.
Impey's head.
I loved
on
his
repeat.
I loved
But
him after the game as well.
Are you allowed? And he was a Hawthorn supporter as a young lad. Are you allowed to rip his headband off and throw it into the crowd?
Yeah, is it like a Mason Cox glasses
Is it like Mason
thing?
Cox's glasses?
I don't know about that.
So I reckon.
It's not
What if
medical.
it, what if
Do you see
if
when
it
they
fell
strapped-
off? You'd do it.
No, but just
No,
scrapping.
just-
so
you
they
just
were-
scrap
they
and
were
pull
in
it
a
off.
Scrap,
And he's got the headband.
and you just get the headband.
Post
And
scrap,
just
he's
throw
got
it.
it.
Post scrap, you end with it.
Into the fourth
You
row.
throw it, yeah. Throw
I
it.
think so.
I love it.
I would love to see it because that's a little bit of like footy to the face.
There's probably a
headband
fine.
in the crowd.
Did you notice
It's worth
when
the
he
fine.
$1,000 these
he
blokes
had
is
a
nothing.
cut and they strapped over the top of his headband?
Did
He had
they
like his
go over the
headband and then
headband?
strapping over the headband? Just take the headband off, mate. The strapping was the
Bailey's.
same thing.
It's branding. You
Yeah,
can't
but there's
take
no
it.
brand in
And
it.
Dangerfield, again,
Oh, yeah.
he is so
Oh,
quick.
fuck.
That rundown tackle of
Yeah.
D'Ambrosio. I know he was a sitting duck and it was a not 15 play on.
Yep.
I think they said he cut him in half. And I was like, he must have been close to cutting him in half. The power Dangerfield gets
He's
in
massive.
Yeah.
a matter of milliseconds.
What about the one where, was it Warple who tried to tackle him? and he just sort of, for a moment, it was like Dangerfield. You could just see him going, "Oh, he's got me."
Yeah.
Oh no, he doesn't.
Yeah.
And then just turned and ran off.
Yeah,
like,
they-
it was
they-
like
they
I think-
always-
was it. I can't remember who the commentator was. They said he's like trying to tackle wasn't a fire hydrant. It was
Yeah.
something a keg. Or
Yeah,
something like
but
that.
those
A barrel,
players,
a barrel.
when they're standing, you just got to give them an extra half a second because you know they're not going to be done holding the ball.
Yeah.
Like they'll eventually shrug this little ant off, and away they
He
go.
was impressive.
He
Oh,
was.
yeah. I don't understand. How old is he? How did his hamstrings not just
He'd
pop
be
off the
34
bones?
or something. Wouldn't
Have to
he?
be
When he does
30,
that.
at least 34.
Because the power he's running with, if he does a hamstring, we'll hear a crack in WA.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
The West Coast Eagles. That was better.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was much better. Elijah Hewitt.
Oh,
Okay, so
that was nice.
We've talked a lot in here about the cupboard being bare, and they don't have any.
Yeah.
But I think we've talked about Elijah Hewitt and this sort of mythical creature that has shown flashes
30 games ago.
Yeah, but hasn't been able to get out there. And I think what we saw in the second half was obvious. When he's out there and he's fit, this kid is good. Like this kid he's a spunk in terms of the way he plays.
He's
he
got
just
spunk.
Goes around. Those two goals he kicked were both
first
outside
one,
50.
The first one, he took the mark or free kick, whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever.
Put the ball on the ground, 55 out.
Yeah.
Looked away from goals.
Yeah.
Jake Waterman was by himself. And then Jake Waterman was filthy.
Yeah.
So filthy. Went back, kicks the goal, and then Waterman, everyone ran to him. Waterman slowly got there and then was like, oh, I hate this for you. Well done.
Okay, fair enough. And then he did it again. Like the other one was about 50 out and a tense moment too.
No.
So
Tip your hat.
that tells you that he's not scared at the moment. He's got
But I think we
confidence.
knew that. I think we knew he had confidence.
Yeah.
He's more than confident. He's got like a healthy arrogance.
Yeah, I don't know him.
He's a wonderful kid.
Yeah.
Like you'd love him. If you had one conversation with him, you'd be like,
Yeah,
this
you'd be
kid's
all
the
in.
best.
Right.
Because he's kind of like super highly strung.
He used to work at the little path 3 we used to play.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Wembley out there. Is that
No,
yeah.
Claremont.
it? Yeah,
Yeah,
he's very intelligent. Like he's
Royal Claremont.
he's not
Royal
what you
Claremont.
expect at all. Like he's everything. There's a lot going on with Elijah Hewitt. So I think he's going to be a star. I think he's got star power.
If he
Better
can
than
stay together.
Dacos?
No.
Not better than Dacos.
No one's
Just-
better
than
just-
Dacos.
Just clarifying
Just to
today.
be clear, no one is better than
okay.
Nick
Yeah,
Rynne.
the only watching act is his feet, right? His feet are
Well,
what's giving him the
that's
issues.
the thing.
Oh, I
If
think
we're-
he's kicking.
If we're just
No,
looking
like his
at-
actual, like
if
the
we're just
structural
looking at a
integrity of
glass
his
half
feet.
full life with no more injuries, touch
Then
wood,
yes.
he's
Then their most talented young player next to Harley.
yeah, and we haven't
about
seen
talent?
Harley do that in a half this year.
Before we do move on, Oscar Allen, what happens this week? Managed, omitted, whatever you want to call it.
No, he'll play.
Where?
Back?
It has to be back.
Well, I think they'll rest.
Archer Reid
I
has
think they'll rest Archer Reid.
rest him.
I'm just reading the.
What's
Jeez,
wrong
leave
with
it.
these kids? It's
hey,
week 6.
I could be wrong. I'm just reading tea leaves, and I would say they're not
And
going
then
to.
what? They're, they're just kicking the can down the road.
Jack Williams plays.
Just kicking the can down the road.
Just play him.
The problem will be the week after when you've got to bring
That's
Archer
what I'm
Reid
saying.
back.
You're kicking the can down to the
Yeah.
next week.
I'll go to St Kilda now. What
What do you mean go to? This is not the last one, yeah?
Yeah,
Is it?
I'll
Yeah,
use my
okay.
last thing,
Okay.
which is St Kilda.
Yeah.
So what's that? Like again, didn't look terrible, but they got pumped. They're just
No, they
doing
look
enough.
terrible. They look terrible.
They were
Oh, that
awful.
was their
They were
worst.
awful. They were woeful.
Okay, that was their
That's
worst.
the
They were
St Kilda
terrible.
we were all expecting for the year.
Yeah. And
First half, they didn't look terrible.
Lifeless, nothing.
No, the game was
exciting.
dead from. Like, they looked hopeless. Other than the first, they kicked the first 3 goals or whatever it was, or 4 of the first 5.
I wasn't watching that closely.
Okay.
They looked
Other
terrible.
than that, they were woeful. And I'll
Have
tell
a
you
look
what.
now.
Like,
Nobody got near
Nick
it.
has
No.
not watched a minute of that game.
No.
They weren't that bad.
I
They weren't
watched
that
it.
bad.
I
It
actually
was
watched the second
deplorable.
half. That's
No,
why I
they were-
assumed
they
they were
were-
better in
they
the
were
first.
horrible.
That might have been the worst performance of the weekend.
So what's one player?
I think Giants could have probably with 4 goals.
Oh,
been
yeah,
involved.
yeah.
So what's one player? Let's say the Pooh's about 3 weeks off.
Oh yeah, Filippo.
So that he's going to do something because he's their young star.
Well, we think so. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of it either.
Sure about what?
Yeah, we just
10
spoke about
weeks of it?
Hewitt.
We've seen
Yeah,
snippets.
Snippets.
We've seen more than Hewitt, but
Yeah.
we need more.
Yeah,
We
but,
need a lot
okay,
more.
but he's the one that all their stock is on from a midfield
Yeah.
point of view.
I guess.
But what's one what's an
Well, there's-
available
there's-
player? Is there an available player
They're not going to get him
that
anyway.
could make a difference?
Not Tom DeConey.
And I don't
on
think Tom
1.8.
DeConey makes it, but I don't think he
I'll
makes
tell
a massive
I'll
difference.
tell you what
in
the
there.
big issue is at St Kilda in the midfield is their skipper.
Yeah, he just can't get going.
He is just the,
There's a
the
ski-
cliff
there's a-
just came and
There's a captain problem across the AFL at the moment.
Who else you got?
So Steele, Oscar Allen, Liam Duggan, James Sicily,
Well, I wouldn't put Sicily in that category.
but he's not going.
No, he's fair. He's not really going.
Yeah, he's going better than these two. I'll give you the tip.
Oh, you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my only 3 examples, but there's 4.
It's about to deep dive.
It's the,
That's 4.
It's a
Jordan
Jordan
Lewis
Dawson's
roll through the
going
rest
pretty
of-
well.
Jordan
Lockie Neal's
Dawson's-
going pretty well.
Lockie Neal, Lockie Neal's
Lockie's been fine. He's
Well,
probably got 15 votes.
Yeah.
Who's the captain? Who's the captain of Sydney at the moment? They changed that around a bit, don't they? Is it still Callum Mills?
Callum Mills is captain.
Rampy.
Yeah, well, there you go.
He's not
Anyway.
playing. Yeah,
Bond went all right.
goodbye, you, Nick. That was
no,
really
no,
good.
sure.
Will Ross the boss have the pills to maybe omit the skipper?
Well, he has to. He's not in their best, is he?
No, I don't think so. And there's no other position.
If anyone's going to, Ross
Ross will
is
do
capable
it.
of doing
You
it.
reckon?
Yeah. I
Let me
reckon
quickly
Steele
get
was
to
it last year? Steele was
Jack
close to being
Steele,
omitted.
16 disposals, 4 kicks.
I feel like we had this conversation last year. Anyway, wrap it up.
Yeah, well, we should have. Anyway, that's been the Hardball Gets 2-minute warning for round 6. If you haven't subscribed to the pod, please do that. Hardball Gets is brought to you by Tab Touch. Got the touch? Download the Tab Touch app today. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. See you tomorrow for the mailbag. Catch you then.